ready, Brian?
Yeah.
All right, take it away. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Dope and Tape Show, guys. We have Mike Fazio. He's a local union guy, 542. He's from Pittsburgh. We're super excited to have him on. And so you said that you started.
Bam.
What's the BAM? Are we live now?
No, we're live. I flip us over. You know what I mean? I show like the.
Bobby. We gotta do it again.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You hit it good. That's how it always goes. Mike Fazio, he's a local 542 sprinkler fitter union.
I said Fazio.
I think it's Fazio.
Fazio, long A.
Long A, baby. Smallest local. One of the smallest locals, maybe in America.
Probably one of the top 5 in the UA, if I had to guess, man. About 200 members or so.
That's excellent.
200. Wow.
That's excellent.
So how big is the 669?
No.
669 is the biggest UA local, 15,000 plus.
Yet I never see them here in Atlanta.
They have jurisdiction in 48 states. The only states that they don't have jurisdiction in is Florida and Hawaii.
Oh,
really?
Wow. That's a. Huh.
Yeah, Florida's its own. The state is its own local.
Do you see them in Pittsburgh?
Huh.
669? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Damn, I fucking got a bug flu.
So I rarely see them. I know. I think. Who is it?
Let me do some clicking over here.
I think there's only one union. I don't know for sure.
Theater mode?
Like Union Company here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah? Want me to Google it? You Google it.
Yeah, I'll Google it.
Google it on your second screen, kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 669's all over the place. They have some big contractors that are in like 10 plus states, like Call Me Now and Shambaugh. They're both owned by MCOR.
I got a lot of followers, a lot of buddies in the DMs, a lot of friends, a lot of guys that came on here that are in 669.
Yeah.
Big. It's awesome. So how long have you been in the sprinkler industry?
I've been in the trade 10 years. I'll start my 11th year in August.
Awesome. All union?
All union. I actually did almost 2 years before I got into the trade doing non-union. I did a little bit of sprinkler inspections. I did a lot of kitchen hood installs, dry chem systems, wet systems, a lot of NFPA 17A and 17B stuff, and a little bit of fire extinguisher stuff, fire alarm inspections. And then that's kind of how I found out about the sprinkler fitters back in 2011. But that was whenever the economy was kind of bad and we weren't taking apprentices at the time. And I had to wait almost 2 more years to take the test. And fortunately enough, I got in.
Makes sense with 200 members.
Yeah, right. We only take anywhere from like 6 to 10 apprentices per year. And it all depends on the outlook on guys who are going to retire, potentially retire.
Huh. Yeah, that's...
So there's several that come up, but the only one that I know of is International Fire Protection.
Oh, and their union, you think?
Yeah. And they do their like inspection cells a little different. So the inspectors go knock on doors, sell jobs, as well as do the inspections, and they also chase the money. So like at the end of it, the customer didn't pay, the inspector has to go and retrieve the money.
Shaggy669 in the comments. Let's go. Happy Thursday, Wayne. What up?
They got to go recruit their own work. They don't have salesmen.
So you got 10 good years, Mike?
Yeah, 10 years. Only time I was ever laid off was for a global pandemic. I was off for 5 weeks. That's it.
Good for you. 10 good years. That's solid, man.
That is solid.
That's a good accomplishment. So, how'd you like get introduced?
To the sprinkler local or to
just
sprinklers
like
in general?
In general, to your first fire extinguisher or whatever.
I mean, it's kind of funny. I had a little falling out with my dad, but we've obviously been rekindled. He owned 2 businesses, and I was working for him, and we had a falling out after I was done playing football. And there's a little fire protection company right in my neighborhood here, and they were hiring, and I applied, got the job, and found out about the sprinkler fitters shortly after that, and I had to wait 2 years to apply. So I did some non-union work for 2 years, like I said, with the hood systems and paint booth systems, some fire extinguishers, sprinkler inspections. I dipped and dabbed with that, so I learned about the inspection side of it. Uh, yeah, and then whenever I got my opportunity, I applied and got into the local.
That's excellent.
So normally what we get, and it's seems to be since we've been doing this show, it's nationwide this way. Definitely here in Atlanta, but it seems to be actually I would say worldwide at this point because of fire protection is such a niche industry that you have to almost be brought in. And that's usually what I ask. Like if I run into a fire protection sprinkler guy here in Atlanta, I'm like, well, who got you in there? Like who brought you in? Because you don't really just apply, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, it's like you almost
Of
have to
course.
know someone, and I kind of like your dad or your uncle or your cousin. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows a carpenter, a plumber, an electrician. Like, I'll be honest. Like, as an instructor down at our hall, I did a lot of recruiting, and I went to our local high school here for the last 2 years for career day. And whenever I went up there, I introduced myself to the juniors and seniors, and one of the first things I asked them, I said, "What's the first thing that you think of whenever you hear of a sprinkler system?" And naturally, everybody says ground sprinklers, and I'm like, "No, look up all
Mhm.
those little circles and all the ceiling tile and everything. Those are fire sprinklers. We do
Right.
strictly fire protection, and
We
no,
save lives, baby.
it's like the best kept secret trade is the way I try to put it off to people because I mean everybody, like I said, everybody knows a plumber,
Right,
everybody
right.
knows an electrician, a carpenter, but it's like sprinklers are, it's like no one's heard of it. No one's heard of it and no one's been introduced to it.
I say
Right.
this all the time, man. It's fucking crazy. Nobody knows about us.
Yeah,
Nobody knows about us.
I've done some recruiting and
Steve,
going to these high schools and everything, and they're just no one has no idea that we even
Chandler,
exist.
what up?
So that's
Shaggy,
one of the huge reasons
hit the
why we
gas,
did it
baby.
is we want a community, you know? We
I
want to
agree.
talk to guys in our industry. We our main goal is get us in high schools. We want people to talk about us as like an option, you
Daryl, what
know?
up? Daryl wants to know what kind of boots we're rocking. What kind of steel toe boots are you rocking? Ooh, that's a strong
Red
assumption there, Daryl.
Red Wing Loggers.
Red Wing Loggers from Mike. Daryl says he's rocking Red Wings. I don't fuck with steel toes. Shh.
Red
No, I
Wing
never
Loggers.
wore steel toe.
Don't tell
I'm on my
OSHA.
third pair of them.
So what do
Oh
I'm
y'all
on
man,
my.
think about Timberlands?
I got
So
these
when I was an
brunts. I got these
apprentice, I had
brunts over
Timberland
here.
Pros.
I've
Timberlands?
never worn a pair of Timberland work boots.
So the
No,
Timberland Pros are your feet will not get tired. Like it's like walking, it's like standing on foam, but they're so
I
heavy
think a Timberland Pro is like the
and
Skechers
they're
of the of
bulky.
is like a Skechers of the boot
No,
industry.
I don't think so. Like
Yeah,
I wore them while I was an apprentice, and they were like my feet were never tired,
nah,
but
bro.
You
they're
got to give you
so
got to give
heavy.
Timberland a little more credit than that. I think Wolverines are like or like the Brahmas from Walmart.
You
Well,
Those are
hold
say
on, hold
the
on, hold
you
on.
say
So,
Skechers.
Timberland Pro. I think the Bronx.
but you're talking
I don't
about
think the
Wolverines
job
before
site.
they could. So Wolverine has purchased
Kenny says
Merrell,
Keen.
which is Merrell hiking boots,
Vinny,
and
what up,
and they
Vinny?
have gotten better. I think Keens are terrible, and they're freaking ugly.
Yeah, there's a couple guys I work with. They live and die by those canes, and I'm just I don't
Keen.
know. I think that they're like you said. I think they're ugly.
Oh, dude.
I think
Yeah.
they're hideous. I'm on my third pair of Red Wing Loggers, dude. The
Looks are
last two
half of
pair,
it. I
I walked into the boot store and I'm like, I want these in a 14. They're like, all right, you want to try them on? I'm like, no, I'm good.
I wore my Thorogoods for years and years, but Brunt was very kind to me, and they sent me these boots, and they look very similar to the style boot that I like, as you could tell, and the reason I'm rocking them. I've been rocking them. It's a good boot. Thank you to Brunt.
There you go.
What do you guys think of Roto-Rooter, the only company that's willing to give me an opportunity in the plumbing and drain field? If that's the only place you can go, bro, get in there and start doing some roto-rooting, but be applying to some sprinkler places on the side as well. But don't tell anybody. My Red Wings
Get it?
last me 5 years? No
What?
way.
No way. My Thorougoods, I can get
Daryl,
a year out of my Thorogoods.
Daryl, I want to
Thorough
see the.
goods are just they're super expensive. My brother,
Oh.
that's all he wears. They're like
Yeah,
300
have you
bucks
had a
every other
pair
year.
though?
To like two
Have
My
you had a
brother,
two
that's
pair?
all he wears.
220, 230.
What
Yeah,
about
if
you
you
though?
but the loggers, if you're looking for
Me, no,
loggers, yeah.
Oh,
no.
you got to get a pair. That the leather is like a oily, like
The Dope and Tape Show is actually looking for a boot sponsor, so I don't know if there's any boot companies out there that want to hook us up, but send them away. Let's go.
yeah, I'll wear them.
Keen has
I'll
like
go
50
estimate jobs
different
for them.
models of boots. Daryl, I want to see your Red Wings at year 4. You got me? How old are they right now? 5 years?
Hey, the guy at the boot place that
Holy
I get mine from, he
shnikes.
said if you treat the upper part of the boot like every couple months, like 4 or 5 times a year, you as long as you have a sewn on sole, you can get the sole replaced and the uppers will last you forever.
Oh, so maybe Daryl's polishing those bad boys every night.
He's probably polishing them and he's probably getting them resold because if
Fucking
he ain't
Daryl,
getting,
my
there ain't
guy.
no chance that you have
Uh-oh.
them for 5 years and you work in them
Uh-oh,
every day and
we're
the
at the
bottoms ain't
12-minute
gone.
mark. We might lose Daryl. Daryl says he can only make the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes. Come on, Daryl.
Oh,
Just put us on the Bluetooth
get it
speaker.
together, bro.
This will be like the bedtime story for the kids. I'll
Dude,
show
what
you
else did I
pictures.
had? So
What did I
I took
have?
advantage of the system. So I had Merrill hiking boots when I was an inspector. So for
Merrill?
3 years, yeah, Merrill, they're the way to go. 100%.
I gotta open this fucker
Merrill
back up.
Moab. Merrill Moab.
Fuck the
Those are
boots.
the inspector boots. They're waterproof. They're super light. They're made for hiking, so you can walk all day in them. They're tough. So I'll get a year out of it.
What did I do with my
And
fucking
then
water? Hold on.
right before the year ends, I would call Merrill and say, "Hey, this happened or that happened, and I need new boots because it's within warranty." And then they'll be like, "Well, you wore them in this, and
Uh-huh.
they're it's wear and tear." I said, "Yes, but your warranty says a year, so it's less than a year, and it should last a year. But so it's technically a defective boot because it did not last me a year." So for 3 years straight,
Defective.
yeah, they sent me new boots, and then I was like, all right, I'll buy another pair.
I
Like,
used I I used to do the same thing with a Stanley Fat Max tape measure. The magnet would always fall off, and I'd take it right back to Home Depot, and I'll be like, "Hey, the magnet fell off of this. All right, yeah, go grab a new one."
I did that with Huskies before I found the Fat Max with the magnet.
Yeah,
Before the
yeah,
Fat Max came out with the magnet.
uh-huh. I did that for probably 7 or 8 years now. I used the Milwaukee, the wide blade one because it got the 14-foot standout.
Sorry, I'm getting water. I'm coming back. I don't like that tip of that one.
It's not bad. It's definitely bigger. It's kind of tough to get into tight
It's
places.
a big old
But
tip for me to try to be reaching up, grab making.
yeah, I mean it's certain spots like it got me today where I had to go bust out a stick roll. It ain't very often I got to use a stick roll.
Oh damn, we got a big bug now. The window
Is
open
Johnson
might fuck me.
Controls in your area down there, Brian?
yeah, those guys. So
Easy.
Easy.
Nah,
Play nice, Bry.
yeah, I am. Well,
All
so
right.
if
How's
there's
the
a simplex panel, you have to use Johnson Controls down here in Atlanta.
yeah, they kind of corner the market with their panel stuff because it's like they're like the only distributor of those parts and pieces for the panel.
Yeah, well, they're huge, and it was a smart move. My thing is, I have so to clear the air. I've never had any issues with Johnson Controls, especially not
Hey,
the technicians. They've always been great guys. I deal with the office rarely, mainly to use them as sub work, and they're typically like for me to use them as sub work, and they're so used to it too from all the other companies using them. It's
Motherfucker.
pretty easy. It's just a pain in the butt that I have to. That's what I get frustrated about. Like I don't
right.
want to I want to do it all.
Brian, got a
I
question for you in the chat.
I get it.
Do you ever take selfies in a banana hammock and those Merrills? Asking for Bobby. Oh, I read that with a pretty
With just
straight face. You got to go back and take a clip of that.
Yeah.
with
Do I
just
know how to
shorts and your
mark it?
boots on.
Do I know how to mark it, kid? Let me
No.
mark it. Start
No,
marking.
I
Clip.
was deep. I was like 2 tunnels deep into a military facility pulling wire, and it was so hot. I was just in jeans, Merrills, and I had to take my shirt off because it was soaked. Like I would ream it, and it would just like sweat would come out. I was I got into that situation before. You ever
I
work
was
in?
re- I
Huh?
was repacking a fire pump yesterday in a boiler room, and I felt like I was like literally cooking.
Yeah.
It was painful. That was the pictures I sent you, Bobby. That was those pictures of that fire pump. You want to talk about like
Ooh, that thing
completely
looked terrible.
destroyed on the
Yeah,
inside?
looked bad.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad,
So
man.
so my father, he made me go and work for another company first before I go work with
Ooh,
him. He said I had to earn my stripes somewhere else.
I just made a
Right.
And
clip.
and it was a summer job,
I just
and
fucking made a
it
clip.
was extremely hot in this doctor's office that we were remodeling. It was ridiculous. I would go outside in 90-degree weather to cool down. And then
Red
that
Wings.
day, I remember like that's when I like transitioned over. I was like, I called him. I was like, look, either I'm done with this or I'll come work for you. Like what this is
Oh, I'm fucking
ridiculous.
this up.
Well, see, at the same time too,
What am I doing?
so I was working for Century Fire Protection here in Atlanta. They're massive. And they we were working doubles every day. So that was going on and I was working doubles and I was just like fed up. You know, I think we did that for like 3 weeks straight and I was just like, man, this is ridiculous.
Timberlands are the Nissan Altima of the boot world.
They come with child support payments.
I have a guy that has parts and takes over panels. Ooh, Brian, that's a pretty cool shirt.
Yeah, dope. Oh, by the way,
One baby down, one right
so I
side.
put this on. The quality is incredible. So it's
Good shirt.
cotton and polyester, and it's like, I mean, this is the way to go.
You like it?
Yeah,
I
for
thought it was
sure.
nice. Good shirt.
Super
Good shirt.
comfortable.
Thanks,
It's my
This
girls.
shirt, this shirt here that your boy Jimmy sent me. It's
Oh
like one of them
yeah,
dry fit
we
shirts,
can't
man. It
see
is
it, so
nice.
you're kind of zoomed
Let me
in. Like,
see.
oh, look at.
Oh, that's cool.
Whoo-wee.
Where's
That's
mine?
that's my dog right there. I don't even have one of those, bro.
Jeez.
These ones I got from an apprentice that made these. Maddie.
Tell him to make me some. I'm gonna go up to Boston and
He
choke him.
journeyed up. I don't think he makes them anymore is the problem. Like I gotta get new. I don't think he makes them anymore. I gotta
He
talk
makes
to
too
him.
much money now. That was a side hustle.
This was a
Yeah.
side hustle from when he journeyed. Yeah, he great shirts.
You guys, yeah, you guys got to give me your addresses.
Glad you liked them.
I'll
Literally
send you
took
guys some
forever.
shirts and some stickers.
Man, that'd be
Let's
awesome.
go. Let me see
Yeah,
what
I'll
I
send you
want
color.
to
guys
get
some
to the
shirts.
point where all I'm wearing is fire protection stuff.
Where is
Like
it?
We got
I'm
shirts from a handful of sprinkler
Two
locals
nine
all across the
four
country
sixty
and
five
Canada.
465.
I
wow.
collect the stickers.
Well, Jimmy gave me some stickers. I was wondering if he gave me a 542,
I'll
Yeah,
but
mail
whenever
I didn't.
I'll mail
I
you
did
out
the
some
apprenticeship
stickers.
competition, well, whenever I did the apprenticeship competition in my fourth year, uh, we went out to, and then whenever I won the state round and I made it to the regionals, I got stickers and T-shirts from like from literally like two dozen locals that were out there. They brought them and were just handing them out. Like I'm talking
Wow.
plumbers, pipe fitters, locals, everything. It was pretty cool.
Gage, what up? Tuning in while I drive home from the Cape. You done working right now? You're driving home right now? What is good, bro? Working on hats next. Darian says, glad you liked them. Those hats took forever. Ranch, and Cabral hats. Oh, let's go.
Oh,
Anything happening on Facebook? Facebook's quiet.
I got a question for you guys. Do you guys have licensing in your states?
Fuck
as
yeah.
an individual licensing in which way? As so there's
So
three
a
different.
contractor or an individual?
So, um, let me just so in Georgia, I'm just gonna just say kind of all of them. All right. So you'll have to have an individual inspector's license. Then you also have a individual engineering license, and you have to have an engineering license to start a business, either you personally or you lease it from another person, or have them come in as an employee and you use their engineering number. There is also we do backflows, so there's individual backflow licensing. That's sprinkler. And then
Cape Cod, Daryl.
extinguisher. Extinguisher, you have to have a license, and it takes 5 years to obtain the full license. You'll get a waiver previously, and
Wow.
yeah, and then some counties require a level one fire alarm NICET in order to do work. Now, as far as to fit pipe, I can hire my wife and have her go fit some pipe tomorrow. I can put her in a truck. I can do whatever I want. There's no
Right, right.
regulations for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't flying how is it where you are, Mike?
So in the state of PA, there's nothing. All the surrounding states
Wow.
around us, whether it's New York,
Wow.
New Jersey, West Virginia, Ohio, they all have some type of licensing. Some of them are easier to obtain than others. But the only area in our state that I'm aware of right now is the vicinity of Philadelphia. They have their city locked up. 692 does. They have a license in within the city, and they have a. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to speak on that, but I don't know how. I think they have an installer, and then they have an ITM license, which is inspecting, testing, and maintenance.
Yeah.
There's two separate licenses. I'm sure there's guys that have both, but then I'm sure there's guys that have just the installer because all they do is hang pipe. So currently, right now, I am on a task force group within a handful of guys on our local that are pursuing to try to get licensing within the city of Pittsburgh limits. Be, to you have to have a license to cut hair or do nails. You know what I mean? You don't need a license to hang fire protection, which is a life safety system. You can
100%.
go you can go get Joe Blow off the street and teach him how to run a power machine and show him how to put pipe in, whether
So
it's
let me
right or
ask you
wrong.
this. Is there any support that you feel like you're lacking that anybody listening to this show can help you with?
We actually just had a meeting today. Not me personally, but two guys on our group had a meeting today with one of the city councilmen. So we are trying to just introduce what we're trying to do, and just not we're not trying to corner the market as as union guys versus non-union, because there's good and bad to both sides. I don't
Absolutely.
discriminate
Yes.
against either one, because I've seen great non-union work and I've seen terrible union work. So to squash that right there, I don't. It isn't trying to corner it for union. It's more so accountability, that people are installing the product properly and that it's going to work properly, because I'm sure you guys seen it in your area as
Fuck
well.
yeah.
It's like, how do people sleep at night walking away from something like that? Like
I'll
it's
post the crazy shit that I find. Like today I found the bushing into a cheater into a concealer.
Yeah, I mean
Bushing, cheater,
it's
concealed head. I'm like Jesus. Like the only good part about it is that it's a steel cheater, but like really? Just send it up, put a gooseneck, and send her back down. I don't know.
that's it. That's it. It's just we're trying to basically do it for accountability, just so if something was to not operate properly, you can hold people accountable and not have it go back on a particular company or whatever. Because right now, the only thing that we have to have within the city of Pittsburgh is to test backflows. You have to be certified, which I have my ASSE certification to test, maintain, and repair all backflows. But one person in a fire protection contractor has to have, I think it's just a NICET one. Don't quote me on that, but they have to have some type of certification in order to pull a permit within the city of Pittsburgh.
Wow.
That's it. That so anybody can go do the work, and we're just basically trying to have trying to have accountability for people to do the right job, do it right the first time, and put in a good product. I
You
mean, that's
cannot you
basically all it
cannot
boils down to.
legally touch a sprinkler pipe in the state of Massachusetts without a sprinkler license. If you're an apprentice,
Right?
you can't touch it alone. And if you don't have a license or a journeyman on that floor, you can't be touching it. You can't like the maintenance guy can't touch it. They could test it. Like if you got a big campus, like the guys can go and do the pump runs and all that stuff, but they're not
Right.
in our state, you do 8,000 hours on the job, and that will get you a Massachusetts license. It has to be all documented hours and, certified and all that. Then you can take the test.
Right.
You pass the test, you get your license. Now, if you want to pull a permit, you got to have a Massachusetts contractor, a sprinkler contractor's license. And that, I believe you have to verify that you have been a foreman for some time, like maybe 5 years. Which obviously you'd have to ask the company to give you that paperwork, and then they're gonna, you need that to pull permits. So that's kind of the next step. So they kind of know what's coming if you ask for that.
Right. So we're trying to push the ASSE 15,000 test, which is strictly for inspection, testing, and maintenance.
Right.
And it's a pretty intensive test. I mean, there's like it's a couple hour test that you have to take, and then you have to go do the hands-on portion, which you have to have a facility certified in order to do it. To even have that, even be able to take the test, you have to have a facility, which I don't know of how many
Shut up,
facilities in
Doom.
the state of PA that there are. I know our facility down at the hall is you have to be able to test an electric and a diesel fire pump. You have to be able to trip a deluge valve, a pre-action, a dry valve, and do a wet system. That is the hands-on portion of it. And I think you have to test a
Oh, that's pretty
double
cool. There's a
check and an
hands-on portion.
RPZ.
There's a hands-on portion.
I like
Yes,
that.
it's not just it isn't just going anybody could take a test. You know what I mean? You can go if
Oh,
you
I
have a
gotcha.
half a brain, if you have a half a brain, you can go pass some tests with a little bit of studying.
That's why
And
Mass is the best for tradesmen. Gage, that's what Gage says. Gage is local 12 plumbers. He was on the show. Shit. On the 18th of May, couple weeks ago, a
Yeah,
few
a
weeks
couple
ago.
weeks ago.
Mike, how'd you find me?
a funny story, I would steal my wife and my daughter's phones because they both have TikTok, and I would just watch some sprinkler TikToks just to kill some time or whatever. And I come across some of your TikToks, and I think I commented on something or whatever, and you
Yeah,
responded, and then the
yeah,
rest is history.
yeah.
We've
Then
just
you,
been
that
communicating
thing, I
ever
was like,
since.
because TikTok, I'm not like, I don't even really know. I didn't know till recently there was DMs on TikTok, and I went to that, and there's like a million. So if I haven't hit you up in the
Wow.
DMs in TikTok, just come to. That's what I told Mike. I said just DM me on Instagram, and then it was from his your daughter's or your wife's Instagram,
That was
and
from my wife's Instagram. Yeah,
he's like, because he doesn't have social media, but he found us, baby. Now he's on the show all the way from Pittsburgh, local 542. Sprinkler fitters. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
yeah, man. Glad to be here.
Anybody here
Glad to be
watching?
here.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing and sharing. We appreciate you
That's
guys.
the most relaxed requirements, like none really that I've ever
Basically,
seen.
yeah. Basically, I mean,
We need more requirements.
we're trying to change it. I mean, we're moving in the right direction. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, obviously. So we're just basically just we're we're thinking long term here. I mean, it might take a year or two or 3 years, but
Oh shit, is Chandler still here?
we're
Yeah.
just trying to push it. Definitely trying to push it.
Do you
Daria?
have anybody in the
Okay.
like city council or state representative that you are in contact with?
Just this, just we had a meeting today with one city council member. There's I think 8 or 10 of them total. Uh, we had a meeting today with one of them. I heard it went very well, and they want to meet again, and they want us to have something in writing on what we would like to do to require this license.
Oh, that's
But yeah, I
cool.
mean that's kind of where Philadelphia has their business manager out there for the Philadelphia sprinkler fitters, he's a council member. So that's, I mean, they kind of they had an in already before they even
Right,
tried to do it. They
right.
had an in.
Daryl,
I
So
have
work,
some people that you can
hands on.
call, and that will help. So,
yeah.
um,
Any help that we can get is greatly appreciated, man. We're just
yeah,
trying to move in the right direction and get this done within the next couple of years. That'd be great.
cool. After the show, I'll get your information, and I'll talk to the guys, and then try to send you over their contact.
Yeah, man, for sure. I appreciate it.
Let's
Because what
go,
we do
Steve.
not want is for something bad to happen, and then they're like, "Oh, well, now we had to change."
That's basically you know that's how changes happen. Unfortunately, we had a fire here in Pittsburgh in a downtown building. It was a high rise that had no sprinklers in it a few
Mm,
years ago, and naturally, unfortunately, someone died. And here we are, 2 3 years later, the building's fully sprinkled now. And we had another fire down here in a building downtown that was a high rise building, but there was only sprinklers in the common areas. And a lady passed away and from smoke inhalation from a
Oh,
fire that happened in her room, which was not didn't have coverage in it. So there's a lot of buildings, unfortunately, that are like that that
yeah,
only have coverage in common areas or just basement boiler rooms or whatever, where they feel the biggest fire hazard may be. But
right.
I mean, I know they're also trying to push for all these high rise buildings that don't have sprinklers to get them done in like a few years ago, not a few years ago now, it was before any of us were in the trade. They did the same thing with all the dorms across the country for the college students. They gave the universities, it was like 12 or 15 years to fully sprinkle all their buildings. I mean, because
Yeah,
you know that's going to be a huge expense.
we had the
So
Great
you want
Boston
to,
Fire of 1872,
yeah. You had that, and then there was also
the nightclub
the
fire in Rhode
Station
Island
nightclub. Yeah, in
station.
2003, killing
Awful.
a
yeah,
hundred people, and then injured 230 people.
Yeah, the
yeah,
station. That one was bad. I've watched videos of that. It's very eerie. But they were stuck. That they were so stuck and so crammed in there. And there was a camera guy in there. He videotaped the whole thing. You can see it from when the pyro goes off to when it catches to the panic, and he makes it right out. And he's at like a back door that's open. And it's just no one's coming out because they can't find it. But I just go. Are you googling right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So
You bastard. The Great
I
Boston Fire of 1872. I never even heard of this. It ranks as one of the most costly fire-related property losses in American history. It began at 7:20 on Saturday, November 9th, 1872 in the basement. The fire was finally contained 12 hours later. It had consumed 65 acres of Boston's downtown. What the fuck?
wow,
776 buildings in much of the financial district caused 73 million in damage, equivalent to
73
1.5
million.
billion. The destruction of buildings was valued at 13.5 million personal property. 30 people died, 12 firefighters. Holy shit. That's crazy.
wow.
It was building.
Well, yeah.
They didn't strictly enforce the building code.
Fortunately, we've come a long way since then.
Yes, thankfully.
That's why they're so
I
strict in Boston. Whole fucking city burnt down in 1872. The buildings were close. The buildings are too close together. Too tall for fires.
You ever been at
Holy
work and there was a
shit.
fire?
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
I have
Several
I have
times
not.
actually.
I've only seen the aftermath on service calls.
I think
Several.
there was a pallet, just like a big pallet, a box pallet filled with a bunch of other boxes, and there was a fire watch upstairs, a guy welding. I think the fire watch was the floor below, but sparks were making it down to the next floor below, and it just landed perfectly, and it hit this box, and it just like
Lit it up.
it looked like a lot of smoke. We had to evacuate. That's like every construction worker, they walk by that air horn every day, and you got that long blast. It means get off the job, and everyone wants to pull it. So everyone was just holding that thing down, and it was this thick black smoke, but it was just like a couple boxes. They sent the whole brigade though. They had that ladder up quick. It's nice seeing them. It was pretty cool seeing the action, seeing them all set
Yeah.
up and everything and roll up.
I mean, they practice that all the time, and
And we
I'm
got to
sure it's
stand there and
rare
do
they pull it. You know,
we got to stand there and do nothing for a bit too. That was cool.
that's always nice. I uh I was doing a military job, and this place was very secure. Like I think it's past like you have it's like second or third level secure. Um
That's-
and at the end of it, because they were doing some core drilling, and at the end when it was time to go home, I was like, man, I smell something. Like I don't think we. And I was telling some of the guys who were doing security, I was like, I don't think we need to leave. Like I smell something. I think something's going on. And then they were like, nah, it's fine, and I don't see anything. We'll walk. It's just they're core, and it's just a smell. That I was like, I don't know. Well, we go to work at the next morning at like 5 a.m. and there was like a little fire in the wall where the on base had firefighters had to go and put it out.
Huh?
I was
And you
like,
smelt
told
it?
you, freaking told you.
You smelt it.
Yeah,
Whoever smelt it dealt it.
that's
Melted,
right.
dealt it.
I was at a hospital and a zebra printer caught on fire, and
Zebra?
yeah, it's a zebra printer.
What the fuck is
That's what
that?
it's called. I
What
don't
is a
know.
zebra
It's like
printer?
it makes labels,
Huh?
Ah,
and one of the nurses like just unloaded a fire extinguisher on it.
She's been waiting to do that her whole life.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was at an apartment complex and I was about 6 buildings down
Uh,
and I hear the fire alarm going off. And then I get a call on my radio and it's like, you at this building? I was like, nope, but I'm getting in the truck right now. We all race over there and I walk in, look at their apartment. It's like a Indian family, so there was like 12 of them in there, and the living room sprinkler head was going off, and there was like 3 inches of water.
they probably didn't even move.
Oh, they were all in there, soaking
That's
wet.
great.
so
That's great. They didn't even move. Just kept on
Did
working.
they break it?
It was like close to the kitchen, so I think there was like a flare up or something. They were cooking whatever you
Oh
cook. I don't know, but
shit!
yeah,
Oh, we
At
had a
least Bry guy was in the area.
I was like, whoa, yeah. Turned it off, opened the main drain, and I was like, I'll change it, but I gotta give you a work order.
Why'd you open the drain?
Well,
Explain that for someone who might be watching that doesn't understand.
it
Maybe
reduces the
maybe a fireman.
pressure by a lot.
'Cause
Yeah,
so
explain that for
You,
firemen, please.
yeah.
a lot of times the firemen roll up, they just shut the biggest valve they can find, and then they're on to the
Or,
next. Because it's
So
usually a row of emergencies.
or,
So
I opened the main drain first and
yeah,
then shut it.
same. Because
or they,
it's gonna take you a little bit to shut that valve, but the drain opens instantly,
Yeah.
and you
or
get
or they'll shut every single valve in the entire building,
Uh-huh.
or
And leave the
and
fire pump
include
running.
hmm
including the domestic water. They'll shut the domestic water. I was on a service call. Oh, geez, probably last summer. I get there, it's an old folks' place, and they had a leak in their attic, and it just blew out, and the firemen come and literally shut every valve in the entire valve room. And the lady comes into me and was like, "How long is this going to take?" I'm like, "Ma'am, I just got here 5 minutes ago. I'm trying to figure out what's going on." And she was like, "Oh, because I can't give none of the patients baths. The chefs can't cook." I'm like, "What?" She was like, "Oh yeah, the firemen shut everything off." I'm like, "Take me to where your water comes into the building."
Mm-hmm.
I go in there and sure as shit, everything is
everything.
literally shut off. Everything,
Shut it all
potable
off.
water, everything is shut off.
And you turn the plumbing back on
Everything.
for her?
Oh, I turned everything back on. Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too. I showed up to a place and the domestic was off too, like a fat daddy, like a 4 inch domestic is off, and I'm like, is the plumbing leaking? And he's like, no, the sprinkler. And I'm like, all right, well, you have the plumbing off. There's no cold water going into anybody right now. There's no water to the whole building. So if the plumbing's good, we're turning this baby back on. What up, Chad?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean,
Daryl.
even the firemen in the city of Pittsburgh that are paid firemen, they come down to our union hall whenever they're in the academy as cadets, and our training coordinator and one of the instructors will take them through all the different types of systems, fire pumps, backflows, the whole thing on teach them about fire alarms. Like I try to educate any customer that I have about go to the fire alarm panel. It'll tell you basically anything you need to know on
Right
where
where to
the
go. Right to where to go.
where the flow's at. Like if you have a 10-story building and you have a fire alarm, go to the panel. It'll tell you water flow fifth floor or smoke detector room 392 or
Stair
whatever. It'll
one,
tell you
floor
exactly.
five.
It'll tell you everything that you need to know so you can narrow your search down to that little area.
Fuck yeah.
I try to
Wow.
educate so many people about that because they
I
panic and they just start shutting everything off. And especially like Brian said, when you have a fire pump in the building, whatever you do, do not shut the water supply to that thing off because that might be $100,000 mistake.
Woo, and that
Yeah.
baby's just running. It's gonna look like those pictures you sent me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm telling you that thing is going to run. Those things are meant to run until they eat themselves alive.
I made a bet with the firefighter captain one time. I roll out. It's in the middle of the night at it was like a high end restaurant bar kind of thing, and the what happened is there was a fire at the kitchen hood, but the kitchen hood did not go off because someone did not screw in the CO2 cartridge enough, so it wasn't punctured. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a faulty system at that point.
Right.
So the fire got so big, it set the sprinklers off. There was two sprinklers that went off. And I roll in there, the fire truck's already in there, and the captain's there, and he's like, "Man, how long is this gonna be?" I guess I got him away from their ping pong game or something. I said, give me 10 minutes. He said, give me
Easy.
10 minutes. He's
Easy.
like, he said, there's no way. He said, there's no way that you can get this back live in 10 minutes. I was like, start your timer now, but if I win, you gotta go get me a Big Mac in the fire truck. He said, okay. So I think I got it like 9 minutes, and I walked up to him and I was like, "What do you got?" He was like, "9 something." I was like, "Go get me a Big Mac. I want a
Open
large fries."
open that valve like it's a dry system. I didn't realize that Facebook has maybe I realized this last time. Has captions. Facebook's typing out everything that we say automatically.
Oh, LinkedIn,
It's
not
because
yeah,
of
LinkedIn does that.
says the old demographics on Facebook or the
But they probably
complainers.
can't hear it.
Question for you guys: what do you think about maintenance guys doing fire pump tests? I don't like it. I don't think it should be licensed. I think you should be licensed. I agree, Daryl. I don't like that either. I think a sprinkler fitter should be doing anything sprinkler related.
So I do teach classes on how to do it.
Yeah, why isn't that just part of the testing, inspection, and maintenance that you buy the contract from the sprinkler fitters? They roll out there and do all that shit.
Because in code, in FPA 25, you're able to maintain your own system. So that
Bastards.
falls under maintaining.
How about working on it? Like, what
Working
if
on
I?
it, no, it has to be
100%. It better be us.
Better be
yeah,
us, right? You
that's
can't.
repairing. Yeah, that's repairing.
Yeah.
So it's only under maintain, and then Matthew Krause in FPA 25 in the 17 edition, I think, in the handbook, they did a study. If you run the fire pump weekly, it prolongs the life of it by 93%. It's huge, huge.
Huge. Yeah, because it's not just sitting there rotting on the inside.
Yeah. So I mean,
Exactly. That's exactly it. I mean, you're talking. Have you ever seen the inside of a domestic water pump?
I
It's.
have not.
I mean, I've seen the guys, the engineers, doing some maintenance work on the domestic water pumps at some of the high-rise buildings downtown that we work in. In the inside of their pumps, they look damn near brand new, and they're 10, 15, 20 years old because they're constantly moving.
Running. They don't have
Water
no
water is
buildup.
constantly flushing through. That it isn't. I mean, even if you get your inspections done on a quarterly basis, you ain't putting water through that pipe, every piece of piping in that system regularly. That's why just gets so stagnant and it just eats everything from the inside out.
That's why it gets to
I
smell
mean,
so good, and it get that nice color that gets on your shirt, and smells like
uh,
money, baby.
Smells like
I
money.
tell people that all the time. It's like telling a plumber the crap stinks, dude. It's like smells like money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I when I first started in fire sprinkler work, I was like gagging at the trash can. But then
Yeah.
now everybody else is gacking. I'm like, oh, that smell is amazing.
I love when it's really, really old. Steve says he's gonna start bidding work in PA now.
Oh
Really?
yeah,
Get it, dog. That's a
Give
long
me
way. That's a long way from Long Island, kid, isn't it?
if
that's
anybody's
probably
bidding
about
work and
7 hours.
they want some tips, message me on Instagram, and
The
I'm
greatest
very happy
tradesman. What
very
up,
happy to
dog?
help.
Gage, fire protection is a life-saving system. Therefore, only licensed personnel should be able to work on them. And that's from a plumber right there. Let's go.
Hey, that
Right?
that's 100% true. If you're in a state or an area that requires licensing,
We got to do that. Every state should require licensing for
I
plumbers,
com
electrical, sprinkler,
complete
all of them.
completely agree. I
Absolutely.
mean, like the plumbers in the city of Pittsburgh, they have to have their cert through the Allegheny County Health Department. They get that, I think, in their fourth or fifth year, and that's something I don't know how often you have to re-up on that, but that's a certification that they have to be able to work in the city of Pittsburgh, or not in the city of Pittsburgh, in Allegheny County, which is where Pittsburgh is, and a few surrounding suburbs.
Huh. Right pay I go. Yeah, Steve, right?
Great pay I go.
Right
And that
pay I
will
go.
the pay will go up if they require that in Pittsburgh for sure, but anywhere else if they require more licensing. It just makes less of us.
Darian, you still here?
Yeah,
Or Chandler?
I wonder
Okay.
how it is in California.
Wonder.
California has pretty strict codes, from my understanding. I mean, they're really strict out there. Like there's a lot of the firemen are involved in a lot of stuff out there, and they're all pretty educated.
That's good to
709
hear.
has a pretty serious training facility out there, and they involve the firemen with a lot of stuff that they do to keep them educated on everything that they do. And they have a lot of they have a lot more strict codes out there, especially with like the earthquake stuff and everything.
Yeah, we do that here too. Like we have we put earthquake bracing on everything. We've never had an earthquake in Massachusetts since I've been alive.
The only thing that we put any earthquake bracing on is when you work like on one of the military bases here that's right next to the Pittsburgh International Airport, and anything at the airport, obviously. But that's basically the only place that you do any type of seismic bracing.
We seismic brace everything. Every
That's
turn, every
crazy.
40 feet, like
Really?
it's on the print. Stuff
Really?
like when you get a pipe delivery right off the bat, all the seismic stuff comes with it. It's its own crate. You
Wow.
spend
I wouldn't
a few
think that
days
in
putting
New
up
England.
main, spend a few days putting up main, and then have the lowest guy on the apprentice list that's on the job fall back and do and just
Go
put
to
all your
bracing.
bracing on, all your longitudinals, all your laterals, right where the print says.
That's crazy. Like even in the New England area, like
For all the earthquakes
I,
we don't get.
I was about to say I don't understand that.
And then I've been on a couple jobs where they're like, all of a sudden they're like, nah, this isn't an earthquake zone. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I did earthquake bracing across the street in that job. It's strange. No earthquakes across the street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you would think it would be maybe the same fire marshal as well.
I've done earthquake bracing before. Have you ever done a Vesna system?
I have, yes, I've inspected them. I
Yeah,
know I'm
Ooh.
familiar how they work. I've sold them. I've never
yeah,
installed it though.
You need a
yeah.
Cali
So
Fire fitter card.
all basically
Anthony.
all basically a Vesna system is a super sensitive vacuum, and it's
Mhm.
like 3/4 CPVC pipe, and you drill a 1/4 inch hole every 12 inches. I'm pretty sure it is, and it's just a crazy sensitive vacuum. And we did a job for Verizon back whenever I was an apprentice, and you want to talk about ridiculous? We had the seismic brace 3/4 CPVC. I'm like
Wow.
on a vacuum type system. I was a little bit beside myself on that. I'm like, this seems like a little counterproductive.
Gage says it
Yeah.
was probably a Joe Schmo with no license that didn't screw that CO2 cartridge all the way in, caused the faulty system in the kitchen draft hood.
Well,
Oh,
that's
those Ansel systems. That's what you have to do. There's a bottle on the inside of them. I remember inspecting them before I got it into sprinklers. Like
Then what? It has to have pressure. You can verify there's pressure.
so the way those work is there's a link line that goes above the like all the appliances, and there's fusible links like all like on a sprinkler head. There's different temperature links, and when that link breaks, it lets the tension off of the uh, of the link line, and it trips the micro switch on the inside of the control head for the system, and it trips the fire alarm, and then it penetrates the bottle. Which on Ansel systems, the tanks are not pressurized; they're just they're full of the agent, and that's just for Ansel. Kitty and Badger and all those are different, but for Ansel's, there's a CO2 bottle that whenever it gets penetrated, there's a hose that goes from the bottle to the actual tank, and it pressurizes the tank and sends the agent through the piping out through the nozzles. So someone messed up, for lack of better words.
Yeah, very good description. The fire
Yeah.
protection is lead free in Cali. I
Lead
see
free.
that. I see that shit in Mass. Like it's like causes cancer in California. Like, oh, all right. Well, at least we're not. Good thing we're not in fucking California.
Yeah.
Talking on an iPhone causes cancer in California.
Oh yeah.
Everything causes cancer in
It'll give you
California.
ball cancer if you just put it in your same pocket.
Oh yeah. You got it. What do you do? Switch pockets? One different
I
pocket
think
every
that's
day.
what you're
Rotate.
supposed to do. I think that's what
Yeah.
you're supposed to do.
I think the AirPods are the worst.
You just put it in your head.
Like
It,
what he's got in his ears. I mean, even these, because it's just sending like that Bluetooth signal between your cranium.
yeah, I mean, think about it. You get an old school
It's
radio, your
like a
phone starts
microwave. That's gotta look.
beeping, and then it sends static. I mean, it's not like nothing's happening.
Oh
Like,
yeah, remember the computer back in the day when
yeah.
the phone would ring and it'd be like da 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 da.
I
The
mean,
good
there's
old days. I don't know if there's
definitely something
any
going
young
on.
people watching us. Hopefully there is.
The AOL
Become a
dial
sprinkler
up.
fitter. Yeah, dial up. I remember dial up.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
God,
some
man, the
you'd
AOL
you'd be
Messenger when I had to
oh
talk to a
yeah,
girl. Yeah.
you'd be on there talking, and then someone would call you and be like, "Hey, I'll call you back. You're gonna boot me off the internet."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Who's slam? My mother would say, "Who's slamming the door?" Because
Yes.
It's
the
funny.
AIM would just be
Yeah.
opening and closing the door.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit! There was
Yeah.
a plumbing flood on one of my jobs. I was a fucking day late and a dollar short. It happened the day before I went there. In the hospital on the tower and on level 12.
Oh man.
The laborer was sawzalling a wall. I think he was either told or he was under the impression that it was shut down. But it was a leg of inch and a quarter copper coming off of a 3-inch high pressure cold water main going up the
Mm-mm.
tower, and he cut right through it with the sawzall.
Woo.
And I went around that entire place trying to beat a video out of somebody, and one guy had a 4-second video. It's not the greatest, but I'll run it. I'll run it on the Bobby page one of these days. But
That's like naturally
man,
what you should do nowadays. You see something crazy like that happen, take your phone out.
Yeah.
they're like, oh, it ran for 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay,
Instead
And no one
and you
got
guys
no
got a
footage.
fucking 4-second video. Like, so you don't all have to be panicking in the water. There's like in the video, there's like 4 of them in the water. So
just staying in there,
there was
you
plumbers
know?
on site and they didn't have inch and a quarter pro press, so they were trying to jam a cap on there, an inch and a quarter
Good
cap,
luck.
and
There's no
Good
way.
luck.
I think that my first thought would be wood. I always want to go for wood because that's what the firemen did for years. So I would try to find wood and a claw hammer, and then I would try to break the wood with the claw hammer into a wedge like, and then I would try to get that wedge into the copper, and I would just 3-pound sledgehammer and hope that the copper forms around the wood and the wood kind of shears off as it goes in and slows it down. That would be my plan to try to be the hero if I was there that day. I don't know if it would work, but I think that's what my mind would go to. Finally
I
made it
mean, when
live. Dope and tape. Let's go. What up, Matt Miller? Thanks for
I don't
joining us,
know.
brother.
I don't know how effective that would be inside of a wall, man. You're talking tight quarters.
No, this is all
yeah.
wide open. This is wide open. It was
That doesn't happen in the wide open spot. You know
that was
that.
like the last wall they were demoing. I don't know. They got lucky on that one. Poor
So have you ever
bastards.
had a blowout? Have you ever been done one
Uh,
or been a part of
uh,
it or
Plastic. We were doing a new building years ago, and I was on the testing crew, and we were just going up the floors, just putting the water to the systems for the first time. and I'm just watching the gauge build, and it hit like 90 psi, and it just dropped like a rock, and it sounded like a shotgun went off
See ya.
on the other side of the floor. And I'm like, you want to talk about a gutless, like a gut wrenching feeling, man.
Drain it.
And then do you guys have a lot of fittings in your area? Like
What?
they're called fit. I mean, I don't know if that's
Like
a
sharp
technical term for
bites?
them. No, it's a fitting that's you put plain end pipe, just put a bevel on it, clean up the edge. Plain end pipe goes into the fitting. They only make it, I think, up to 2 inch, and
Oh, and it's got like a beam
it's a
clamp little wrench on there you tighten?
it, it's a little quarter turn on it on both sides. If it's 2 inch, it has them on both sides, inch and a half down to 1 inch. It just has one little tit on there that you quarter turn and it locks it in. I've had a handful of those whenever I was working on existing systems, whenever I was filling up something that I didn't even touch, blow out. And those things were supposed to change the industry 35 years ago. And they did.
No,
They put a lot of money in people's pockets and flooded a lot of buildings.
that's it. I got a buddy that
Those
has a
things are
couple
awful.
factories that's loaded with
That's why you
those.
have to have a fitting that has some dope and tape in it, you know?
That's
Can't go
it,
without
baby.
it.
So I always called those pop fit. My father would call those pop fits, and that's what I call them now, pop fits.
Yeah,
You could
we call them fit fittings here, and then there's also the slip fittings that have like the 9/16 bolt on the side that you can just hammer that home. Those are much better, a
What's
much
that?
better option.
A roustabout or
No, roustabouts are illegal.
I
Those
don't
things are
know.
illegal. Those things are terrible.
Who the fuck just tagged me beating one of them fuckers on? I was like, I don't know. I'm sharing it anyway. You might catch some heat for
Dude.
this one though, kid.
But no, there's a fitting. We call it a slip fitting, where it's same concept. It's plain end pipe, but instead of having a quarter turn to lock it in, there's a 9/16 bolt that you just hammer it down until it's flush with the fitting, and it puts a serious indentation in the pipe, and it is dug in there. It's solid.
That's
I've never
holding
had one
that
of
baby.
those blow off. No, but if I can put a groove on something, I'm putting a groove on it. That's like a last resort is to do that.
It's a safe
Yeah.
space. You can tell us about the flood. We all have them. With a set screw? What's your oldest piece of fire protection that you have? I think I got like
Me?
an. I don't know.
I had a
That's a
1908
Oh,
from Underground
that's a
Atlanta.
question. No, but you can't talk about that anymore because you gave it away, right?
What, before?
No, I don't know. You still have it?
Oh, no, I sold it on eBay.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. See, you don't have it. That's the past. You're gonna pretend to
I
have
got
that. You're gonna pretend to have that forever. That 1908, right?
Yeah.
I
You're
got
gonna.
I got sprinkler heads that are from the early 1900s, and then I got some pretty old water motor gong covers, uh,
Where are they
some
from?
pretty old gauges.
Are the water motor gun covers from Massachusetts?
No, I don't. Well, I don't know exactly where they're from, but I mean,
They're from.
like
They're
I
from
got some
Rockford, Massachusetts, baby. Well,
Viking ones. I got some old
Worcester,
Grinnell ones.
Worcester, Mass, from Rockwood Sprinkler.
It's
Chandler
not
sent me
Worcester.
an awesome gauge.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
sent me the
brass
sign
gauge.
right here.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool.
Well,
That's not how you pronounce that. It's Worcester.
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 That's how Brian would say it. It's Worcester, kid. Oh, were you watching that episode, Mike?
I was, yeah. That's why I said that. That's like here in
Worcester.
Pittsburgh, everybody says yins.
What is it?
Yins. It's like saying you all or y'all or you guys. They say yins.
Yens?
Yes.
Huh.
You come to Pittsburgh and you can, or you go anywhere and you hear someone say the word yins, just tell them you're from Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, Yens.
100%.
I had a
That's
blowout with these crazy couplings like a roast about fuck the groove coupling. What? Too long. Oh, it's too long for the podcast. My bad, Steve. I got everything going. I see the messages coming in. If you guys are messaging me on my phone, I just had a Discord comment come up that I got. I don't know how you be watching. Anthony Ryan is watching, but he's commenting on Discord. I got you, bro. I see the Discord comments too. I usually ain't watching those, but
So
we're
who's
here,
coming on
baby.
next week?
Laser beams, right? Next week. Shit, we're in June, kid.
Yeah.
We're in June. We got Tom coming on the 6th. Tom's kind of like new to the movement. He's been tagging me every day. He's sending me I think he's sending me a water motor gong. My buddy
Like an
Tom.
old Viking.
Tom, you here? Tom Howd. He's on Instagram. And then we have on the 8th, we got Jim Stoddard from Argo.
That's gonna be a crazy episode.
From
Man, I can't wait to hear his story.
Arco.
Wow.
42 years of excellence.
Dan, what he send you? A care package?
Well, this is from my buddy Daryl. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure Jim's allowing it, but it's from Daryl. He sent me dope, right? You got your dope handy?
Got my dope.
Where's your dope at, bro? Uh-oh.
Tell me you got some super dope.
Yeah, see, that's marriage right there. Sarah moved it.
Well, I had to switch computers.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm
if
using her computer.
If I put something somewhere and I remember where I'm gonna put it, my wife will fucking.
Did you guys
hold it.
use super dope at all?
Yeah, that's all I use on my black 1-inch. If I use anything threaded 2-inch and down, I'm using super dope.
That's
I like
ignorant,
super
man.
Huh?
That's ignorant.
Huh? It's ignorant.
Oh, dude, that stuff is so. Any anaerobic dope that hardens.
See ya.
I've had.
Send
I
it.
swear to God, whenever I say this, I've had half-inch plug heads break off.
Oh, me too.
Trying to take out.
So I think it's like a diluted. I don't know. It's in a 55-gallon drum, and then they ladle it out into these little tubs, and we call it super.
Super dope.
We call it super dope, but I think it might. I don't know. I could get it apart. Like years later, I could still take it apart. It's tight.
Yeah. Then.
But I've had that. I've had the black stuff with plugs, and it's just the plug's gone. It just breaks the whole plug off. You have a 2-foot wrench up there, fucking yanking on it.
You might as well replace the fitting, man. I've literally had sprinkler heads break. I've had half-inch plug heads break off. I mean, that stuff is crazy. The anaerobic stuff that like anything that hardens it, like whenever you put it on, it is terrible to take apart.
I don't put it on the heads. I don't put it on the heads, baby. I put my the dope that I always share is what I put on the heads, but I love my super dope.
I've used super dope for years.
I love my super dope.
Our company buys that Pro Seal stuff. I mean, it's pretty good.
Oh, so then on the 13th we got Sammy. On the 15th we got Chad, and Chad's going to Alaska on the 22nd. So we're gonna have maybe we'll have excited Chad, right, Chad? Chad's going on Alaska. He's going on a boat for like a week or something. He's going on a fishing trip.
My wife wants to go there.
Awesome.
To Alaska?
She wants to go there. Yeah, she wants to go on one of them cruises up there. Yeah.
Isn't it like cold as tits?
I've no idea. I mean, my old boss used to go there all the time.
If I don't see palm trees, I don't want to go.
I know. Alaska would be cool. I'm just not ready for it yet. All right, we're already at an hour. That was fucking quick, this one. What's the biggest glycol system you ever seen? 17 buckets. I put them in my barrels, baby. Probably 4 barrels. 35-gallon barrels.
Glycol. Gosh. Those are starting to become obsolete in our area, man. There's like a lot of people are just putting in dry systems.
Yeah, we drain them and make them dry.
That's what I mean. A lot of people were just taking them out, putting in dry systems just because the maintenance on those things, once they get to that freeze point, I mean, a lot of people have had those things freeze and break, and they just get rid of them and put in dry systems.
Oh shit! All right, that was quick. That was the fastest hour ever. Mike, we appreciate you coming on, man.
That was awesome. We gotta have you on.
Yeah, we're gonna have you on again. I got his number. I've been texting him. He sends me pictures.
Send me his information so I can get him with some guys that I know, and then maybe we can, help him out.
Yeah, I'll just send you his cell. I'm gonna send him your cell, Mike.
No doubt. Yeah. Glad to be here. I'll definitely come on again. It was a good time for sure.
Everybody in the chat, hit the like button.